Hi guys, I wanted to just give a little bit more in depth about the position marker indicator that I talked about in the previous video. So let's get started. If we go into the Forms Designer and we go into our current spec, so I'm going to drop the position marker onto the session profile again. So we just got to add indicator. We choose the indicator, and then I'm going to choose position marker. And you see it immediately shows up there since I've already got a position of 1 long on simulation on the order book. So the structure of the parameters in this is going to be sort of the base for a lot of indicators going forward, and I've tried to include as much as possible to make it extremely flexible in terms of how you can actually view an indicator element, and you can change. At the moment I've got it set up with a square and a particular color and a border, etc. But you can do quite a bit of change to that. So the first thing to note is that essentially this indicator has two states. It has a positive state. Sorry, it has a positive state, and then it's got a negative state, and that's essentially the value of the position. So if the position is above 0, then it's going to take on the the attributes specified in these two tabs, the positive mark and the positive font. And if it's in a negative, and then it'll take on the display attributes of these two sections. Yeah, and that's so that, like you can see by default, when your position is flat or above, the font color is actually green, and if it drops into a negative, then the font color will change to red. And that's because if you look here in the font settings for the positive, I've got it set to green in the font color. And then if we scroll a bit further down, you'll see the negative state of the position is actually specified as a red, so you can see. And using that, you can actually do a lot more than just change the font color. You could change the shape, or for instance, if you're using images to show something, you could actually change. You could set an image that you want to show in a positive state, and then an image for a negative. So yeah, that's it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to. I'll leave each person to sort of explore these parameters, because there's quite a few, and they're fairly sort of straightforward in terms of they're self-explanatory. So if we just drop through, at the moment it's set to a square, you can change that to a circle. The reason nothing's changed on there because you see it's actually in the negative state at the moment, so that these display attributes aren't in effect. So we need to move here, and if we change circle on the negative, you see it's actually changed that. So you need to mess around with that. A circle obviously doesn't make sense in this particular case because we want to actually see the text attribute. But other attributes that are in relation to the square, you can deflate it, meaning it applies the same amount of pixel sort of increase to the height and the width at the same time. You can deflate it or inflate it using this to make the square larger or smaller. You can adjust the X position, fine adjust using an adjustment by pixel. So you see there now the position has just gone positive, so it's changed this to the circle which I had set up here. Just change that back to a square. So the position, it's not ideal. The position sort of jumping around between 0, negative, and positive. So ideally you want to be setting this up once for positive and then for negative, and want to be jumping back and forward trying to do a demonstration while it's flipping between the two. But so yeah, you can fine adjust the X position. So say we add 5 pixels on here, you can see that it's moved at 5. You can move it back. You can use negative pixel positions to move it to the other side. And that comes in handy, for example, if we want to, let's say we wanted to move that across a bit, and then we wanted to actually decrease the width of that square, so we can take 10 pixels off the width, take off another 10. And there you see we've just basically decreased the sort of the length of the block. But using these parameters, there's a lot that you can do, so you just need to experiment. And these parameters are going to be available on most of the indicators, so that you can choose the way you want to display something. So for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. Sorry guys, something I should point out, which is a little bit more important than all the display attributes, is the actual position value. The indicator can display a number of different things. At the moment it's set to P&L by points, but you can actually change that. So if you want, they can display the average price. Um, it can display the quantity of the position, and it can also display, your dollar amounts on the position. And you can use that if you see one of the screenshots that I posted on the forum, you can use it in conjunction with another one. So, for example, you can add one indicator on here for the position marker, and then you could add a second one onto exactly the same cell, and then you can adjust their sort of X position so that they don't sit on top of each other, and you can put the quantity right next to the position average price, so you can create a type of a flag like I did in that screenshot. Yeah, so I thought that was also worthwhile just mentioning. Thanks for watching.